So, an important question is, how long should we keep our smartphones? Let's talk about it together. So, on average, there are two different types of phone. You got the Apple and then you got the Android. Android, you got Samsung, Huawei, Google, LG, all these other wonderful phones. You got OnePlus and all those other phones. And then you've got the almighty iPhone standing by itself in Apple. In this house, in my house, I've got an iPhone and my wife has got a Samsung. There are many arguments about which is better or not, but anyway, that's a story for another day. Now, normally, Apple users keep their phones for 3 to 5 years, and Android users keep their phone for 2 to 4 years. But if you find an Android user that has had their phone for 4 years, they're a bit of what's it saying? A golden duck, I think that's what it says. They're basically what it's saying is they're rare, okay? There are not that many people that keep an Android phone for 4 years. That's more of the extreme case. But most times, Apple users keep their phones for every 3 to 5 years. And one person has actually even written to say that the reason why Android phones devalue so quickly is because they don't keep it as long as iPhones. iPhones, you get software updates and software capabilities for about five or so years. The iPhone SE back in 2016 is still getting software updates from Apple. We're in 2021, people. That phone came out in 2016. That's 5 years. Samsung, on the other hand, they basically give you a pinky promise to say, yo, we're going to give you software updates for 2 years. After that, you're on your own. And in any case, even when Samsung gives you software updates, it's not as fast as Google or Nokia, because Google and Nokia basically run a stock Android experience, and they are the people that will give you the quickest and fastest software updates, and they promise and guarantee you will get software updates for 2 years. Samsung and a lot of other phones, basically a pinky promise, and that's all you're going to get. So yeah. All right, moving on from software, let's look at hardware, okay? The first thing and the number one phone killer is your battery, right? If you use your phone for 3 to 5 years, okay? I mean, it really depends on how people use your phone, but normally between 3 to 5 years, right? If you use your phone, your battery is going to hold 50% of the charge that it did when it was brand new. That is shockingly low. So if you're already right now struggling to keep a full day's charge with your phone, there is no way in 3 years' time you're going to keep that phone. Okay, because you're literally going to be running around with a charger. BlackBerry and a lot of other phones back in the day were like that. You literally need to go with a charger anywhere you go because your phone will die. I have a friend who has an iPhone 6, right? That battery is shockingly bad. Oh my goodness, that battery is shockingly bad. He literally can have a phone conversation, right, for about 5 minutes, and that phone can easily go from 90% to 60%. That's how bad it is. There are times where he's using that phone, it's literally just plugged into the charger because it will go off. That's just how bad batteries can get if you hold the phone for a long period of time. However, if you ask me, if you've got a phone and it does everything that you have or everything that you need, it's going to be cheaper for you to replace the battery than getting a new phone. So just think about spending that $100 and replace the battery instead of getting a whole new brand phone for like $1,000, $1,200, or if it's a mid-range phone or whatever phone that you're getting. If it's $100, you could actually just keep the same phone that you have. Food for thought. Now, the second thing that goes as well is a screen. Now, a screen normally lasts anything between 3 to 7 years. Again, dependent on how you use the phone. The first thing that normally goes on the screen is the backlight. Okay, that's what gives it the vibrance and everything. I have another friend as well. He has an iPhone 5, if I'm not mistaken, and that phone is old. I have told the guy to upgrade his phone for years, but he is a stubborn mule. That phone is no longer white. Like, you know, an iPhone is supposed to have a nice white, cool color. It is now brownish warm. That's how bad it is. It's got a yellow tinge now, and that's how old the screen is. Another thing that you also need to consider about a phone is the processor, okay? Now, the processor basically is how fast the phone runs. Now, on average, if we're being honest, right? We do not use our phone to the greatest of its capabilities, most of us. The average person does not push our iPhones, our Samsung, or whatever phone you have to its absolute limit. Even the games that we play, we may play I mean, Crash Bandicoot has just come out. It's a really nice game, by the way. You got Crash Bandicoot, for example. You got Pug GT. You've got so many different games, Asphalt 7 or whatever game that you're using. You're not hardcore gaming on your phone, okay? And because of that, you're not really pushing your phone to its absolute limit. So another thing that you also have to think about is the processor, because over time, your processor is going to be slower than other phones. Okay, so if you're a person that wants to use productivity, I mean, if you want your phone for productivity, personally, I would recommend your iPhone. If you've got like an Apple, like if you're all in the Apple ecosystem, I'd personally say use an Apple phone. I love using an Apple phone for my productivity purposes, but Samsung does pretty well. The Note, I had the Note as well, really good phone. But if you're using it for such things, you may need to consider getting a newer phone because, for example, the newer phones have a better processor and the way in which they use the energy and the battery power, that's why you now even get a better battery performance because of the processing power of the phone, okay? iPhone is really, really good for this. And the battle between Samsung, you've got the two chips, you've got the Qualcomm chip and then you've also got the Exynos chip. Those two chips, the way in which they actually process things and how they use the battery power is actually different. So that's one thing that I would also say you really need to look at when it comes to hardware. The processor is really important. Now, another thing to consider as well when you think about how long you should keep your phone is the changes of the phone that you want to move on to. Now, changes of phones between each iteration, between year on year, is actually very slim. It's not like it used to be before. All right. Back in the day, the reason why everyone wanted the latest iPhone or the latest Samsung is because the changes were absolutely massive. But now the changes are really minimalistic. And you can actually see this as well in this diagram that I'm about to show you. You see, what has now actually happened is the peak time, for example, iPhone sold phones was in 2015. That's the most iPhones they have ever sold. Ever since then, it has been on a steady decline. And that's the same thing when it comes to Samsungs and everything. But for Samsung, for example, it's slightly different because they just don't have the top of the range. They've now also got the A series. They've got Samsung have got a lot of phones. They've got low, mid-range, high. They've just got too many phones. But then they want to make sure they cater for everyone. So they're trying to get every bit of the pie that they can get. But that's slightly different. But what I'm trying to say here is, the changes are minimalistic. You don't need the latest iPhone, for example, if you had the one previously. You really don't need it. You see, if you look at each and every single launch event now, it's more to do with, it's like a fashion show in a sense. They're trying to convince you that this latest design, this latest phone is what you need. You don't really need it, right? You honestly don't really need it. Take this for example. What's the difference between the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the 12 Pro Max? If you really think about it, what's the difference? They're going to say the normal same thing. Oh, the chip is better. The efficiency is better. The battery life is better. The battery life is not even better, for example. The 11 Pro Max has a better battery life than the 12 Pro Max. Okay? So, year on year, the changes aren't as big as you think. If, for example, you're going from an iPhone 8 to the 12 Pro Max, that is a big change. It's worth the upgrade. But if you're going from a phone like, for example, the phone I have, the XS Max, going to the 12 Pro Max, I don't think there's that much of a difference apart from the cameras. Okay? I had that option to choose because my contract just recently ran out and they're asking me, what do you want to upgrade to? And I really thought about it. I was just like, I don't really need the upgrade. Okay? I just said, I don't need it. And I know a lot of us out there only want it because it's the latest and greatest thing. But if you ask yourself, you really don't need it. You see, the thing is, you will not feel the pain today, but you will feel it tomorrow. Because after you use the phone, you realize there's not that much of a difference. There's not that much of a change. And you spend all this money on this phone that you're really not using any differently because you're saying, oh, you wanted the latest and greatest because you wanted the processing speed. You're not using the processing speed. Oh, I want the latest and greatest because of the camera. You're hardly even using the camera. This is the most I've ever used my phone right now because that's what I'm actually using to film my videos if you didn't know. And I'm just like, all this time I've had my phone, I'm just like, I've never really used it. But now here I am really using my phone. So it's like those little things, you don't really need to upgrade your phone as quickly as you think. Now, you tell me, Caleb, I feel like changing my phone. go for it. I mean, sometimes you also just feel like you want to change. You've had the phone for a year and like, yo, I really just feel like changing my phone. Yo, do what you need to do. It's your hard-earned money. But you see, the thing is, like, I'm just trying to say that you may not need to change your phone as quickly as you need to, or as quickly as you want to. Another thing us humans have is jealousy, if we're being totally honest. If we see someone else with the latest and greatest phone and you look at it, you're like, raw, that's a nice phone. Yo, check out his iPhone 12 Pro Max. Ooh, that Huawei. That's just how we are, right? And I used to be a person that was like that. If I see someone else with the latest and greatest headphones, TV or whatever, I would really look at it. I was like, yo, I need to update my current tech. My tech honestly may not be as bad as you think. Like, it's actually quite good and I absolutely love it. But just because of seeing someone else having the best phone out there, I'll be like, yo, I need to find a way in which I can get my new phone. But I didn't really need it, and a lot of us don't really need it, right? So the thing is, in the end, is you don't need to change your phone as quickly as you think, right? For example, I was a person that changed my phone every 2 years. Like, every 2 years I'll change my phone because I thought the jump is that big. But now I haven't even done that. My phone is 2 years old, but I told myself I don't need to change it just as yet because the 12 Pro Max isn't that different from the iPhone XS Max. That's generally what I thought. You see, even mobile providers, right? They give a 2-year contract. They normally give 2-year contracts, sometimes 3-year contracts, because even they think that everyone changes the phone after 2 years. But these days, it's even going longer and longer simply because the quality of the phone that is being made is now lasting longer, okay? The phones, the cameras are lasting way longer than you'd think. What's his name? Mr. Who's the Boss actually did a video about this to do with the 2020 mid-range phones versus 2018 flagship phones. I'll leave a link in the description. He actually had a really interesting way of looking at it, but later on, basically what happened was the 2018 flagship phones were technically better than the 2020 mid-range phones. And that's basically how it is. Phones these days are being made to last, okay? When it came to the iPhone 6, when it was breaking and all those other iPads and everything, that really caused a big controversy out there in the tech market. And phones now are being built to last for a long time. You've got all these, I mean, some of them ridiculous names like ceramic glass, Gorilla, and all those just ugh. Anyway, I'm moving on. But you just don't need to change your phone as much as you think to. So it doesn't have to be 2 years. It could be 3 years. It could be 4 years. You can save, I mean, you can honestly save yourself some money. Instead of in the next 2 years, instead of buying the best phone, you can actually get a pretty good phone that's already a year old and will last you again another 2 to 3 years. Because the honest truth is, even when I'm upgrading my next phone, I may not even get, if it's the iPhone 13, whatever iPhone is going to be out at that time. It may not even be an iPhone because, I mean, if it is right now, if I had to move, I'll probably get a Samsung. I don't have to stay with iPhone, for example. But I just want all of us to think about how much we actually use our phone and if you really need to change your phone. You really don't need to. But in any case, guys, if you're enjoying this video, a sub to the channel would be spectacular. So in conclusion, guys, there are a couple of different things to look at when it comes to trying to change your phone or how long you need to keep your phone. Personally, I think you really need to keep your phone anything between 3 to 4 years. But I mean, again, it's everyone's choice. If you want to do it every 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, heck, 6 years, it's totally up to you. But again, you just need to look at a couple of things, the software compatibility or the software updates that you're going to get. You really need support for your phone. When it comes to that, iPhone is king. The hardware issues that you're going to get when it comes to the screen, the battery life, the processing power, anything that's going on out there. The competition, what is it that you're actually going to get? The amount of money that you're going to invest in a new phone, is it actually worth what you're putting in regards to the phone that you already have? It may not be as big as you think. And if you just want to change as well, yo, fair enough, do what you need to do, but you may not need to change your phone as frequently as you need to. So guys, in any case, let me know what phone you're currently using in the comments below. Is it a new phone? Is it an old phone? How long have you had that phone? Drop a comment down below and let me know what it is that you're currently using. But anyway, guys, my name is Caleb. This is KanthrHD. I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned something today. Leave a like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.